horse's mind. So if you've ever been frustrated that your horse spooked at the chart they were fine with yesterday, this is going to be a really helpful series for you, and we'll talk. Because understanding how our horse's mind works and how they react within the herd and the herd dynamics is crucial. It changes how we approach our horses, because a lot of times we think that if we approach it just in human nature, that everything's gonna be okay. But we have to adjust to our horse and learn to kind of think how they think. And when you have that kind of insight, it changes the way you train horses. So one of the first things that we have to understand about horses is they are prey animals. So their primary goal in life is to stay alive and not get injured. Because if they get a cut on their leg, they're probably lunch tomorrow. So their primary defense is flight. That's why it's, in the wild, that was their best way of getting away from predators, was to flee. Now, in our society now, we put horses in pens, and that can cause some problems because horses will run through fences. So you just really have to understand that that is your horse's nature, to flee by design. And horses are born neurologically mature. So what this means is a few hours after birth, they are on their feet and they are ready to run and flee from predators. So unlike if you think of puppies, they're very vulnerable for a long time, for like several months. And they have a lot of developing left to do with their eyes and everything, whereas horses are pretty much ready to go, ready to flee. The other thing that makes horses really special is they have a really high bonding capacity. And what this means is it makes them really incredible to ride, because you can build a relationship with them. And the other aspect of that is it helps save them when they're in a herd setting. So they learn to bond with the other members of their herd, like a foal bonds with their mother. So when the mother flees, the baby flees also. And they learn to mirror each other. And what's really interesting is horses within a herd will synchronize their heartbeats with each other. So if you've ever seen a herd of horses and one alerts and then they all kind of alert, that's why. One, they'll realize that somebody in the herd, their heartbeat is going a little higher, and they'll all come to attention and they'll all flee if that's the verdict, And then they'll run an appropriate distance, and then they'll turn back and they'll assess the situation. And that's one way horses can synchronize with each other and stay safe, and they also synchronize with us, is the other cool part of that. But horses are very perceptive to the environment, because they have to be able to stay safe. Now, if you look on the third slide here, at the very bottom of your page, the horse on the left is like alert, his ears are up, he's assessing something, is it spook worthy, Then we have the horse in the right-hand corner, his ears are kind of back, he's a little worried. The bottom corner, there's a horse, you can't see it because it's so small. But trust me, he has the white of his eyes showing, and he's like kind of bracing out and worried. These are all things we, as horsemen, take into account. So when I'm looking at my horse, we do a thing that we call reading horses. And what that is their main communication style with us is through their body language. So for us, we have to learn to read our horse's body language. And you can't just look at one piece of the horse, like their ears, and judge it off of their ears. You have to look at all the puzzle pieces and put them together. Because if you just judge by one thing, then a lot of times you'll be inaccurate. You can flip to your next page. And if you're blind like me, you can't read it. Anyway, so learning to read your horse's body language. I'm just going to do a main overview of relaxed versus worried body language. And for relaxed, your horse is going to be blinking, their ears are going to be soft, their head is level with their withers, they are easy to bend through their ribs. If you've ever been on a horse and you can turn them and then they bolt off, that's good feedback. It's learning, but hopefully we can learn as horsemen to know what happens before it happens, so we can fix it when it's just like, he feels a little stiff through his ribs, I bet he's worried. And, not wait until we're bolting down the pasture to fix the issue. Their tail is also soft. And one really good tip that I like to tell people is if you're on the fence about, are their ears like worried, are they soft? You can just take your hand, and if your horse is relaxed, you should just be able to flop their ear back. If it's fixed in one position, then they're tense. So, general overview for those of you that don't know horses, ears forward is attentive, ears out to the side is what I call airplane ears. Those are usually relaxed. You'll see them do that when they're napping. Ears back can be worried or listening to the rider. And then ears pinned, that's an aggressive sign. If you ever see a horse do that and you're not equipped to handle it, get out of the pen as fast as you can. That's my advice. If you don't believe me, go on YouTube. And then for fearful body language, think if you're looking at your horse's eye, they'll be starey. They won't blink. And I watch horses' eyes a lot, especially when I'm mounting a horse or when I'm colt starting, because that can tell me almost all I need to know. Like they're staring, and then their body's really stiff. They, a lot of times they could be processing something, and if I put pressure on in that moment, I could blow them up. So I need to be, very aware of my horse's body language and what they're doing. The other thing is if you see like the white of their eye down here, that's also a sign of worry, or it can be a sign that their mind is somewhere else. Like that horse in that last picture that was being lunged on the bottom right-hand corner. He is not thinking about the man that's lunging him. He's thinking, I'd rather be out there with my buddies. He's counterbent. He's not thinking about the maneuver. So a lot of the things that I work on in my horsemanship and with my horses is getting the connection, getting my horse's mind on what I'm doing. Because if I get their mind, their body's going to follow. And, either way works. You either got to put their body in a position that's going to help them to relax and then get their mind, or I can get their mind and then their body's going to fall into place and relax as well. And then we already talked about how the ears can be stiff or fixed in a certain position. Not breathing. I think, or irregular.
That, don't they?
Yeah, they do. That's a really bad sign. Breathing. Or if you've heard a horse that it blows out repetitively in the canter, like, that's because they're not relaxed with the canter. They're holding tension, and that's all they can do. It's kind of like hyperventilating with humans, it's like, that's not a good sign. So that's another thing I'll watch for when I'm doing stuff with horses. I'm like, Is it regular breathing and soft in and out?